Welcome to first grade. My name is Kim DeYoung, and I'm your child's teacher. This is an example of our daily schedule. We begin every morning with morning meeting, where we greet each other and we do some sharing, and it's a great way to set the tone for the day. For reading workshop, I begin each day with a mini lesson where I teach the kids some type of strategy. We use this cafe structure. For comprehension, I might teach checking for understanding, or the importance of using illustrations and key details to comprehend. Here are some other examples of strategies that we use as well. We also talk about using story elements to retell a story. For accuracy, it's important to use reading strategies to figure out those tricky words while reading. Not only is accuracy important, but so is fluency, making sure that we read at an appropriate rate and that we're reading with an interesting voice, with expression. We also talk about expanding vocabulary and tuning into interesting words, as well as inferring the meanings of those words. Right now, we're working to build our reading stamina, which is really important, especially when I begin to start working with students in reading conferences one-on-one or even in small groups. So if students aren't able to work independently, it doesn't allow for me to meet with, like I said, small groups of students. So we're working to build that stamina, and we're tracking our progress and setting goals each day. Here's an example of a reading rubric. We do have rubrics in each content area, but this one is based on stamina. We talk about levels of understanding based upon a learning goal. 3 is the goal, and in this case, it's I can build my reading stamina. 1 is what? And we talk about, well, what is, and in this case, stamina. Students know that the majority of us, when learning some type of new unit or new content or new goal, are going to be a 1. And that's okay. That's expected. A 2 is help, or not yet. And so I talk to the kids about how it's really awesome when they notice that they're a 2, because they're recognizing that they're not there yet. And again, that's okay. We always say that is okay. You are where you are. It's recognizing that and then just doing your best, putting your best effort forth to try to move forward. 3 is I've got it, and so we're reaching the goal. A 4 is surpassing the goal, and that is not the expectation. But of course, you will have some kids that are surpassing goals. So I can build my stamina and be a role model to teach others. So in this case, that's what our 4 is. Here are some rubric wrap glasses that I use. Students begin to know that when I use these glasses and we do our rubric wrap together, I am looking for a number. I want them to show me some type of number based on their understanding. And again, if they show me a 1, a 2, a 3, or a 4, it's all okay. Learning is a process, and we talk a lot about not being down on yourself if you're not a 3, and especially if you're not a 4. So that's something that the conversation will continue throughout the year. In writing workshop, we also begin with a mini lesson. We also talk about how writing is a process. And I'm lucky to have 2 little ones at home who have lots of objects and toys. It really helps to increase the engagement for learning new things. So this is an example of something that I've brought in where the stairs to that little house are detachable. I pull them off and we talk about, well, how do you get from the first floor to the second floor? And the conversation begins. And so we talk about how writing is really a process and how there are steps. You can't just get from one place to the next with the snap of a finger. Voices is the structure that we use. There are 6 traits of writing, and it stands for voice, organization, ideas, conventions, excellent word choice, and sentence fluency. And this is an example of our voices menu during a narrative writing unit. Students will often receive a writing checklist once they're comfortable with the voices menu. And what they do with this is color in each strategy as they apply it to their writing. Some other types of writing aside from narrative are opinion and informational. And for math workshop, we use this structure just to kind of post different concepts that we're learning in math. So magic in this case stands for measurement, addition and subtraction, geometry, in base 10, and counting and comparing. Our encore schedule is as follows. Day 1 and day 2 are important to note that it's phys ed, and so your child should wear sneakers. And day 1 is important as well because that's the day your child should return their library books. It's really important to me to work to build not only school community, but also classroom community. And there's a lot of things that we do as a class to build that community. I want everyone to know that their ideas are important, they're valued, that the kids are important. I want everyone to know that safety is important to me as well, and that we all just feel comfortable with each other to learn and to grow together. So one of the things that we do is this is our Woodcrest School Pledge, and we focus on these 6 core values throughout the year. If your child brings home a shark tooth ticket, that is great news. It means that they've done something to show one of these core values. And so when they bring their shark tooth tickets back to school, hopefully they're signed and they will feed our shark. We talk about how hungry our shark is and they love to eat shark tooth tickets. So we've got to do lots of things to keep feeding the shark. Another idea we talk a lot about is that first graders are flexible. And we begin to learn as the conversations continue what this really means, what it looks like, and what it sounds like. And we've got a great role model, Pete the cat, who really teaches us about flexibility. He's often saying, it's all good. And we say that a lot in our classroom. It's all good. Or that's okay. You might start to hear your children say that because we're constantly saying to each other, that's okay. FAIR is giving everyone what they need in order to be successful. This is something else that we do as a Band-Aid activity. I give the kids Band-Aids and we pretend to have these different, ailments or issues. So a scraped knee, obviously a Band-Aid would help fix that. However, a broken arm, Band-Aids are not going to help with a broken arm and other things as well. So the idea then comes from that FAIR is giving everyone what they need in order to be successful. That we're not going to give everybody a Band-Aid and everything's going to be fine, but different people need different things. And we connect that to our learning and say that different learners need different things. And there will be times where someone is using something or doing something and you're not, and you may wonder, well, why do they get to do that? And why don't I? Again, it's giving someone what they need to be successful. And we're all different. And again, that's okay. It's okay to be different and need different things. Something else we use in our classroom is our Common Cove. Sometimes we just need a little bit of a break, and this is a great place to go. We can take anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes of a break. Most kids opt for the 5 minutes, which I think is appropriate. When they're writing and they just need a break, or in between reading workshop daily 5 choices. Maybe they're doing word work, and before they begin Read to Self, they just want to take a little break, a few minutes to just kind of regroup and get themselves ready to move on. Sometimes someone gets frustrated or sad or upset, and they just need a little space to be alone. So this space in our classroom, the kids really do begin to understand what the use of it is and respect each other when we are using that space. And I'll even model for the kids, the use of the space. And you'll see this change throughout the year depending on what we decide as a class, things that maybe we want to add to this space or things we don't need there. Flexible seating. I have been using this for a few years now, and I have nothing but great things to say about it. I really do notice a difference, and it really does come back to different learners need different things, and that's okay. We don't all have the same chair and the same table and the same everything, but we're all using different things. And I think visually seeing that just opens up this whole idea that, again, we're different learners. So we talk about not having a seating plan and not having assigned seats. Now, if there's a case where someone really, that is what they need their own space and their assigned seat, then we do that for them. And that's their quote unquote Band-Aid. But most kids really like the choice, and it's not typically an issue. But again, if it is, reach out and we'll definitely work on that. Or kids become really great at telling me what they need. And so we'll do whatever they need. Here's our living room. I'm sure you heard about our living room. This is a great place to sit and read. We begin to do other activities here, like possibly writing, grabbing a clipboard or a lap desk, or even just listening to a story using a Chromebook or iPad. We also do This becomes a place where kids can sit and talk with one another if there's some kind of issue or problem. Maybe something happened on the playground and they just need some space or time to talk about it. And they'll even ask me, can I meet with so-and-so in the living room? Absolutely. Do you need me to come? And sometimes they say yes. And other times they say, no, I just need a little time to chat with them. So it's a great space for our classroom. Some other flexible seating options are hockey stools, scoop rockers, and stability or yoga balls. The expectations are basically such that kids can choose where they work best. As long as they're making smart choices about their seating, they won't be moved. If they're focused and completing their work and not distracting others, then they've chosen the best spot. If they are not focused or they're not working or they're sitting next to someone and they choose to chat with them, then they'll be invited somewhere else. They know that I can really move them if again, they're not showing me that they're focused. If it's continuous and the same students I'm talking to and they're not focused and I continue to move them, then they know that eventually I may be choosing their spots and they won't have that choice. But typically kids really do understand the expectations and they follow suit. So it's exciting to see that. I'd love for you and your child to please sign the flexible seating contract. That way we can really get started with introducing other types of flexible seating in our classroom. Our Pay It Forward projects have been such successes in especially including more flexible seating options to our classroom. We've gotten some core discs and hockey stools from these projects, as well as stability balls, beanbag chair in the Calming Cove. We've got these seats that we haven't pulled out yet. They're brand new in boxes, and I can't wait for the kids to see them, as well as this desk cycle that we have not used. And we've even gotten some additional Chromebooks for our classroom. So one way that I'd love to thank our donors for these projects is to share photos with them. And I'd love for you to just consider signing this permission slip. If you're okay with it, it will be a great way to thank our donors. You can just sign it and send it in to me. If you're not okay with it, you're not interested, no worries at all. I completely understand. This is our recording studio, and this is where kids go to use apps such as Seesaw and Flipgrid, to name a few. Kids will record their voices, sharing and talking about different topics and ideas or their own work. And sometimes kids will just need a space or a barrier where no one sees them, and it just makes them feel a little bit more comfortable to talk. Other kids are fine with recording within our classroom. It's a great way for kids to share their learning with you, with me, and with their friends as well. I would love for you to share your contact information with me. I make positive phone calls as well. So if the phone rings and you see that it's the school's number, know that it could be a positive call. I love to share the great things that your kids are doing. If it's okay for me to share information with others because of birthday party invitations or possible play dates, or even with our head room parent, if you could just initial next to your information just to say it's okay to share. If it's not okay, no problem at all. Please sign for permission at the bottom. So I want to talk about that. I love to share Woodcrest's story. I love to share our story of the kids in our class. So I love to do a lot of sharing through Seesaw. I put Remind there too because that's something I've used in the past. So I may decide to add Remind, but right now I like the way Seesaw is working. But again, I love to share as much as I can with you, with the families, because I think it's really neat to see what your kids are doing each day. It gives you a little glimpse into our classroom. So pictures and videos, again, I try to share as often as possible. I'd also love for you to think about possibly letting me share your child's picture, again, video on social media. I do a lot of sharing on Twitter, and oftentimes it's the same thing that you will get through a Remind or a Seesaw notification. I like to share it out on Twitter because I think it's great for inspiring other teachers to do things, and I love to get ideas from them. It's also great to continue to tell Woodcrest's story, and your kids are a big part of that story. And I put YouTube there because, as an example, this video is on YouTube, and it's great to have that opportunity to share things. And I may want to do something like this where the kids and I put our learning into something like this, and then they can share what they're learning. And YouTube is a really great and easy way for me to share that with you. So I could post a video and you would have access to it if you have the link. So again, just something to think about. And I would really appreciate that, because it's a really great way just to continue the sharing and keep everybody informed as to what we're doing, because we will be doing a ton this year. And I just love to keep you updated. And the kids really get excited to share with you too. So that's a plus as well. Homework. So homework will start the first week in October. And the first night, actually October 1st, happens to be Woodcrest family night. So we will not have homework that night. However, Tuesday it will come home. But each Monday night for the first Monday of each new month is no homework night. And so enjoy that with your family. It will be typically assigned on Monday and due Friday. The homework menu encourages choice and flexibility. And it's informative. So take a close look at it to see all the things we're learning about. Here's an example. You'll see it's broken up into sections like reading, math, writing and word work, as well as other. I'd love for you to go ahead and sign when you return, when your child brings it back to school. There'll be lots of different things available for you and your child to choose from. And so the idea isn't that you have to complete everything, but maybe you do complete everything. Again, it's okay. Work with the flexibility. If you are very busy and your child has practice that night and your family has another obligation and you get home and there's just not much time left, but reading is something that is really important. So if all you can do is read a book, just read, even if it's you reading to your child. If your child is trying to really work to learn the week's trick words, then that's a focus for your child. If they already know those trick words, then maybe work on an IXL activity, or extra math is something else that we'll be sending information home for. So it really is flexible. Really think about what your child needs. And sometimes I'll highlight what I think is a good recommendation for them, or I may add in an activity if it's something that could benefit your child. So keep an eye out for that. Happy birthday. So we also have birthday homework, which the kids love to get. So they'll get it right around the time of their birthday. And if they celebrate a birthday during the summer, don't worry. June will be the time to celebrate those birthdays. But what we do is kids can choose some type of activity in which they'd like to celebrate. It's important to remember that we will not have food as part of our birthday celebrations, but that really the focus is on spending time together and enjoying each other. And the kids and I really do have a blast. Mystery guests are wanted, so if you're able, we'd love for you to consider being a mystery guest. You could contact me to schedule a day and time that works. We're typically pretty flexible. We look forward to your visit, and really it's a great chance for you to come in. Don't tell your child you're coming, and I'll ask you to provide me with a few clues ahead of time, just to who you might be, and see if the kids can guess. But oftentimes mystery guests like to share a story, do some kind of activity with us. It's really up to you. Typically, most share stories or read a book, maybe their child's favorite book. But I'm open to suggestions that you have if there's something else you'd love to do with the kids. So I told you before, and I'm going to tell you again, this teacher absolutely has awesome students, but also awesome parents, just saying. So what I'd like to say is that we really are better together. And I look forward to working with you to give your child the best education possible, to make your kids feel happy and safe and excited about learning. And I just want to let you know that I have this open door policy. I would love to meet with you at any time. I've loved meeting with those of you I've met with so far at the beginning of the year. It's been great getting to know the kids more easily. But if at any point you have questions and you just want to come in and have a face-to-face chat, I'm here. My door's open. If you have concerns, again, reach out. We can even have a phone conference if that works for you too. But no matter what it is, big or small, again, it's really never too small. So please reach out, and I look forward to working with you this year because we truly are better together, and I do believe that. All right. Have a wonderful day, and thanks for tuning in. Take care, everyone.